Thanks, Sophie. This is BBC Channel Islands. Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Wednesday's programme. I'm Charlie McCardle. Good to have your company. So first tonight, DFDS has told the BBC the first of Jersey's new ferry timetables could be published within hours. But for tourism bosses, the wait for timetables and tickets has already damaged this summer's holiday trade. And now, sports groups that rely on inter-island travel are increasingly worried too. The Jersey Sports Council says without regular weekend sailings, allowing travellers a good 8 hours in each island, sporting fixtures could be in doubt. Julie Flanagan reports.
Jersey may have agreed a new ferry service provider, but there are still fears about how a lack of inter-island clarity will affect sport and tourism.
I don't think it's been part of the discussion so far, so I'm hopeful that when the discussions do take place, that it is taken into account. And it's not just Siam Cup or Marathi. There's loads of sports who want to have these matches between the islands. Some have fallen by the wayside because of this lack of connectivity. And I think putting on a regular service between the islands, and there should be cooperation between the sports, we hopefully will get back to that and build on it for the future.
DFDS representatives are currently in Jersey as they prepare to recruit more staff and told me schedules are on the way.
We expect to publish the schedules northbound today, so that's Jersey to Poole and to Portsmouth. We're still working on some Marlow schedules, but we expect to publish those in detail next week.
What about the inter-island scheduling though? Because that has been a concern. I think there are fears that actually the kind of connectivity between the islands has been somewhat overlooked.
Yeah, it's not been overlooked by us, I can assure you, and I've had regular meetings both with Port Jersey and the government, but also with other stakeholders. I met with Sport Jersey this morning to specifically talk about the schedule for sports, in inter-island sports in particular.
But Jersey's Chamber of Commerce says bookings have already been lost because of the uncertainty over schedules. Many European visitors book their summer breaks in October or November, and Chambers worry the damage has already been done for this year.
It of course costs us bookings. Right now, not having the certainty of the Channel Islands route is one thing, with the whole route not yet being on sale is a concern. As the season goes on, it'll have more and more of an impact.
The Port of Jersey is in talks with other operators, including Monchiel Express, about offering inter-island ferries. We've had a statement from Jersey's Construction Council saying some of their members have also been affected. The Construction Council has called on Condor and DFDS to work with the authorities on both islands to issue timetables and costs without further delay. But as we're halfway through January, those fears remain. The time is ticking. Julie Flanagan, BBC Channel Islands News, Jersey.
About 50 people have had to move out of their homes overnight because of a suspected gas leak in Jersey. Emergency services and the gas company Island Energy have asked people to leave 21 flats at Leggett while engineers find and fix the leak in the main gas. Firefighters are helping displaced residents to collect vital belongings. Now, it's been a taxing time for Guernsey's revenue service, with criticism piling up over tax return delays. Now, the states are hiring an extra director, earning £130,000 a year, after a review concluded the top job was too extensive for one person. Our political reporter Olivia Copeland explains.
In the past number of years, it seems it's harder to find someone who's had a smooth experience paying their income tax than someone who's had issues. A quick look on local social media groups shows constant complaints with the revenue service, whether it's incorrect calculations or severe delays in collections. The latest figures showing 11% from 2020 still outstanding. The service has previously rejected the idea there'd been chronic failure in the system and said making improvements to its organisational structure and IT system would solve the issues. But now the service has a new answer, splitting the top role to make day-to-day operations more manageable. The current director of the Revenue Service will become Director of Tax Policy, who's responsible for bringing in new taxes or looking at policy on island and abroad. So the hunt's on for a new director who'll focus only on delivering the service for the public and improving customer experience. The backlog won't be solved by one person overnight, but people waiting for money back are hoping that recognition that something needs to change means they'll see improvement in services soon. Olivia Copeland, BBC Channel Islands News, Guernsey.
News in brief now. The authorities warn of a scam posing as an online news article about Guernsey income tax. A Facebook post urges islanders to share personal details to earn money. Police say fraudsters are calling some victims to demand payment. Guernsey police have arrested a 39-year-old man in connection with a burglary at St Peter Port Town Church. Officers say someone broke in overnight on Friday, causing damage and stealing cash. And Jersey's Illuminated Trees event is moving to October. People made more than 30,000 visits to Dreaming Trees in Howard Davis Park last February. Organisers say this year they'll add extra sparkle to the spectacular autumn season. Now, it's a celebration of sport, culture and community. And with 6 months to go, the starting line is in sight for this summer's Island Games. Orkney will welcome 2,000 athletes from around the world, including our Channel Island teams. And the small islands are promising a big event. Charlie Nuri reports on the preparations.
The excitement and anticipation.
Guernsey, we give you the Island Games 2023!
It's been 2 years since Guernsey hosted. Now it's Orkney's turn.
I just look forward to a fantastic Games in Orkney. I think Orkney will showcase sport on the island, sport in Scotland, and for Orkney, for a small community like Orkney to pull off what will be an amazing event, I think it'll be something that they can take great pride in and remember for years to come.
It's the first time Orkney has hosted, and they'll take the title of the smallest island hosts, making it a landmark occasion for the Scottish Islands. And they've got some exciting news.
We're delighted to say that Lorraine Kelly is going to be hosting our opening ceremony here on Saturday the 12th of July at 5 p.m. It is a public event, as it was in Guernsey. We want to encourage as many of the local public and indeed the visiting spectators to come along and support the athletes that will be gathering to celebrate the start of the Games.
The Games promises to be another spectacle, one the Guernsey team is getting ready for.
The last 6 months have been crazy busy and we've been planning, get everything ready. I think that it's really important for us to give those competitors this kind of springboard into this international competition.
I've gone on record saying that I think the Island Games are really, really important. I know that obviously this game is going to be quite a lot different to the last one that we had right here on this very track, but just as important in kind of maybe some different ways, and we're supporting it as much as we can, and a lot of the athletes that were successful here in Guernsey will be going to Orkney.
And will you be ready for your time when it comes in 6 months?
You could ask me that in July, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Well, those Guernsey athletes are counting the days. What about Team Jersey? Well, as you can see, their general manager, Morag Obraska, is here to tell us all about it. So I've got to ask you, Morag, how are things going?
Well, we're getting there. We've got the flight sorted and we're waiting for just finalising the accommodation. Then I'll get into manager's mode and get everyone to their drug education, to their kit fittings, etc. And then we'll be off.
Gosh, 6 months to go, an awful lot to do there. You mentioned there that you've got your travel booked. You've yet to sort out your accommodation. Now, this is one of the things that's concerned some of the other competitors, particularly those travelling from further afield, that yes, getting there can be challenging, but also finding the right kind of accommodation, which means some of the bigger team sports are missing out on this occasion.
Yes, I mean, obviously there's a certain number that they can host. We're quite happy with the accommodation. We put in an application for accommodation and we've more or less got what we wanted. We're in a mixture of dormitories, but the majority of our team are in the halls of residence, which is they're going to add extra beds to make sure everyone's accommodated. But every small island is going to have challenges. Even if you hosted it in Jersey now, it'd be a challenge. So I think it'll be fine.
Are any of our island teams missing out, unfortunately, on this time around?
No, nobody's not gone because of accommodation. Some have found challenges with funding, so a couple of sports are not going. But we have 10 sports going, and I'm sure out of the 12, So I think we'll be well represented.
Do you think funding is a big problem for things like this?
I think it is. I think the challenge is, I think it's all right if you're competing all week and you've got lots of competition, because it's such an opportunity to have a multinational competition. But if you're only in one event and you get knocked out early doors, then it's a big investment and there might be other competitions you go to instead.
So fingers crossed, it'll be a very good event for us.
I'm sure it will be. You know, you just don't know who's going to come out the woodwork from year to year, and I'm sure we'll have some young stars of the future.
I'm sure we will. Morag, thank you very much. Now, a Guernsey student in Los Angeles describes the wildfires as unlike anything she's ever experienced. Emily Leprovo, studying molecular biology at University of California, says the university instructed students to leave and moved classes online. She says being nearby has been scary.
I evacuated from campus on Thursday morning. So I'm doing very well. I count myself very lucky and very grateful. The situation, though, it has been scary. It is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. I was incredibly naive. So I was gathered around and people were watching and I was like, what is this? And they said it's a wildfire, and everyone was incredibly calm. And I was like, what do you mean? I mean, there's a fire happening, and in California, it's incredibly common. So I kind of had the mentality, you know, as long as they're not worried, then I'm not worried. But it was when everybody around me started to panic and everybody around me started to get nervous. That's when I definitely felt a bit scared myself. So from the building that I live in, we could see the fires. You know, you could smell it. You could see the smoke. I got photos from the building. You know, we were walking down the main campus and I remember people being like, oh, you know, look over there. Everyone was gathered round. And I was like, what is everyone looking at? And you could actually see the fires on the hill. So to be really close to the area was something quite scary for me, especially, you know, being in a situation I'm very unfamiliar with. There are areas nearby us which, you know, people, students have lost their houses to the fires. We've had professors who, you know, they went to work that day and their house burned down whilst they were teaching. And, you know, that's everything that they brought to work that day is all they have left. Coming from Guernsey, we're so incredibly safe, and it's something I see on the news and you hear about and you think, oh, that is awful, and you kind of carry on, you move on with your day. Whereas, you know, really being in that situation, it's completely changed my perspective on situations like this.
Scary stuff, but thankfully very safe. Weather shortly, but first, who is our Weather Watcher star of the day? Tracy, press that button for me. Oh, wow, this is a great picture from, I think it's Bozeld, St Peter Port in Guernsey, and as you can see, it's taken at night. A fantastic shot there. Right, let's get the full details on that weather forecast. David, quite a misty day today.
Hi, Charlie. Good evening. Yes, there's lots of that mist, fog and low cloud around tonight. It could be around for a large part of the day tomorrow as well. If it is continuing to cause some travel problems, BBC Local Radio will keep you updated. But the forecast for tomorrow is very cloudy and misty to start with. There may be some sunny spells developing after lunch, but there are very light winds, so nothing is going to move too fast at the moment. That clearer slot's not picking up all of the low cloud, the mist and the fog, but it is picking out where the area of high pressure is. That's ever so slowly edging away from us over the next few days. Slow progress on that, though. We still have the influence of that. And all the areas of low pressure, all the bad weather has been steered to the north. That will continue. This is Friday, very little change in the pattern, and a similar setup on Saturday. This weather front here may just get to us on Sunday, but it'll be late on Sunday, and we won't see much out of it, just a layer of cloud coming our way. And the reason the weather is so settled is where the jet stream is. This is this core of strong winds high up in the atmosphere. Looks like it's going to stay well to the north of the UK over the next few days. So tonight, the mist, the low cloud and the fog will continue. Minimum temperatures of 5 or 6 degrees. So it is less cold overnight because we've got all this cloud around, but very murky conditions for a large part of the day. It is rather cloudy, and then a few holes, a bit of sunshine breaking through mid-afternoon. 8 degrees, the top temperature. These are our times of high water for St Peter Port. That's just after 8 and 20:31 tomorrow evening. And the winds are from the southeast. They will be very light, and it will be misty at times with poor visibility because of that. Now, the forecast for Friday, very similar weather, a lot of cloud around, some mist and some fog, but but sunny spells developing. The weekend forecast at the moment looks dry and fine, bit more of a breeze on Sunday, but it is slightly colder at the same time. Charlie.
As long as it's dry for the weekend, David, I'm very happy about that. Thank you very much. Right, that is it for the time being. Of course, you can join me for our late news, as always, at 10:30. Right now, I'll say goodbye and hand you over to our friends at Spotlight.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. Still to come in tonight's Spotlight, the first signs of spring, thank goodness, and we're out in the sunshine.
Is the apple tree in your garden looking a bit tired and emotional? If so, I've come to Cotehill to learn some tricks of the trade when it comes to pruning.
John Henderson sounding cheerful. Developers are paying Exeter City Council up to £7.5 million to avoid providing affordable housing in a massive housing scheme. Demolition work is due to begin this summer on the site of the old Harlequin shopping centre. When the scheme for more than 380 studios and flats was given planning permission 3 years ago, it was agreed 20% of homes would be affordable housing for key workers. Guernsey-based developer Curlew Alternatives Property says the scheme is no longer viable due to rising building costs and falling property values. The Labour-run council says the deal makes the project deliverable while still getting money to provide affordable homes elsewhere.
Harlequins was meant to provide city centre living, affordable, especially for key workers, and now there will be nothing. They've offered us a cash instead, but it's very difficult for the council to build housing and to get it brought online quickly, and young people can't get on the housing register, so it is a complete disaster.
Birdwatchers have been flocking to West Cornwall to catch a glimpse of a very rare creature which is hardly ever seen in the UK. The booted eagle is more common in southern or eastern Europe, but this sighting has got enthusiasts travelling down from all over the country to get a view of it. John Ayres has more.
It's a beautiful creature so rarely seen on our shores. But after it was first spotted at Marazion Marsh on Sunday, it's generated plenty of excitement.
There was immediately a lot of interest from local bird watchers in the Penzance and Truro areas, many of whom were here in within half an hour. Now, most booted eagles seen in the UK hang around for a few hours, and this one's now stayed for 3 days. Which has allowed not only local Cornish birders to come and see and photograph it, but also people from all over the country.
And one of those is Mark Dawson from Nottinghamshire, who immediately drove down and slept overnight in his car to get to see it.
I think it was 24, 25 years ago where I saw one very badly, not very far away from here at Drift. And I've chased 2 more since, is it last year, and missed them all. So I was extremely pleased to actually see this bird.
So what is it about this bird that makes it so special?
Booted eagles come in 2 flavours. One is all dark and could be confused with a buzzard. This is a pale bird with a very distinctive underside that can't be confused with anything else.
There were 2 records of sightings last year. This is thought to be one of those 2 birds. John Ayres, BBC Spotlight, Marazion.
A bit of sports news now. In Plymouth Argyle began life under new manager Miran Muslic with a 1-1 draw against Oxford United at Home Park last night. After going behind just before half-time, Argyle equalised in the second half through a header from Rami Al-Hajj to earn Muslic a point in his first game in charge. Argyle remain bottom of the championship table, 3 points from safety. Now then, do you know your lady's fingers from your pig's nose? How about a Collegiate Pippin? Just 3 of the 120 varieties of apples growing in the orchards at the Cotehill National Trust estate near Gunners Lake. And if you have an apple tree in your garden, then you'll know this is the time to get pruning. John Henderson's been to see how the professionals do it.
Cutting to grow. Sharon's one of the gardeners at Cotehill who loves lopping.
I also like the fact that we're able to keep them healthy, and it's a long-term thing. These will be here a long time after I've gone, and the fact that other people will be able to enjoy them because of something that I've done and the care that I've placed with them, it's important.
There are about 80 trees, mostly apple varieties, in the old garden at the estate.
And then just the other side of the wall, we've got another orchard, our mother orchard, and there we've got about 300 trees, 125 varieties. So a really busy time for us in the garden at the moment.
So what are they doing in the sunshine? First off, it's pruning. And here's the first top tip.
So the worst thing you can do to your apple tree is do nothing. So if you're not too sure, waiting another year, you're just going to have a bigger problem next year. And the trees that perhaps have got away a little bit too much, they've not been pruned for a few years, do it very gently, because if you prune the tree really hard, the tree is going to respond really well with lots of vigour, and then you're going to start this battle with the tree growing and you trying to control the growth, and I know who's going to win. So little and often, sort of a maximum of 20% removing.
Next top tree tip, get grafting.
So the other part of the job we're doing at the moment is looking after our collection of trees. So what we're looking to do is to graft new trees onto new rootstock. So we have a sloping cut of about an inch and a quarter long, and we are looking to join the two sticks together, and we'll use an elastic band to attach that together, and over a 12-month period that will bond to become a strong connection, and then you've got your new apple tree.
And here's what that graft looks like all those years later. You can see where it's grafted on to this cherry tree.
Volunteers here are gathering raw materials for a free public grafting session that's happening on the second weekend in February. John Henderson, BBC Spotlight, Cotehill.
And it's that time of year, isn't it, where people start to get out a bit more because the weather has been quite nice. But a little bit of mist this morning, David, though, just hanging around.
It's been a lovely day. It
really
has
nice.
been a lovely day. Yeah, we had quite a bit of mist. Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, this is one of our Weather Watchers pictures in Somerset, and we've had quite a lot of mist and fog first thing today. It's reforming now, so there's going to be a problem again overnight tonight, and that mist and fog will continue to plague us. But we've had some lovely weather today, and this was the sunset here in Plymouth from the roof of the BBC just as the sun was going down. Of course, with this clear sky, it also means it will turn somewhat colder than of late, so we're going to see quite chilly overnight temperatures and a risk of frost just about anywhere overnight tonight, along with that mist and fog forming quite quickly. Thank you to Paul for our pictures for this evening. These are some of the other ones we've had today. This is obviously a drone shot from Newquay. What a beautiful shot of the sunrise this morning. Shows that low cloud around as well. This is the Lizard, looking absolutely splendid with a lovely clear horizon. Good visibility away from that mist and fog. And the other thing about the last couple of days is just how good the surf has been. Tomorrow's surf equally as good, north and south coast. Smaller waves on the south coast, but 4 to 5 feet. And a long break between those individual waves means some really quite excellent surfing conditions if you can brave the sea surface temperature, which is down to around 11 degrees at the moment. The forecast for tomorrow, very similar to today, dry, morning mist and fog, some brief sunny spells, but the general theme for tomorrow is a lot more cloud coming our way, and it's creeping in from the east. Now, the higher satellite picture doesn't show all of the low cloud, but there is some of that already reforming now. The area of high pressure just slips away eastwards over the next 24 hours and just allows a bit more moisture in. It also allows some of that low cloud to come in from the near continent. So we could end up with a fairly cloudy end to the week. Brief sunny spells, but certainly a lot more cloud than we've seen today. This is Saturday. We've got a southerly wind. Eventually that weather front will bring some patchy light rain and drizzle on Sunday, but some uncertainty just how quickly that turns up. And we just, with a southeast wind, pull in some slightly lower temperatures as we end the week as well. So perhaps not as warm as we would like, but then the mildness starts to return as we go into Sunday on that weather front. Now, fog is already forming in places right now. It will continue to do so. At the same time, we get some low cloud creeping in from the east. Minimum temperatures, a bit of a range of those. I think right on the coast, 5 or 6. But it's inland, especially where we've started the night with clear sky. We could be down to freezing overnight tonight. And this is tomorrow's forecast. As I said, that mist and fog a problem in the morning, but generally a lot more cloud around. So for those that have had the blue sky and the glorious sunshine today, it isn't going to be the same tomorrow. It's going to be quite a grey day. There'll be a few holes. Temperatures up to about 10 degrees again tomorrow. That's 50 in Fahrenheit. Winds generally light. For the Isles of Scilly here, also more cloud, dry with sunny spells, and the best of those will be in the morning before it generally clouds over. These are our times of high water. Padstow 6:55, Portland 8:13 tomorrow morning. And the winds are generally very light. The wind direction from the south or southeast, no more than a force 3. Fair, although there is some mist and fog through the channel at the moment, and some of that could be just touching the coast. That's the forecast for the weekend. Those temperatures struggling a little bit, but by next week, I think we'll see those weather fronts come in. So more cloud, but still a lot of settled weather. Have a nice evening. Victoria.
Lovely, thank you, David. And that's it from the team this evening. If you have a story for us, get in touch via email spotlight@bbc.co.uk, and we hope to join us again tomorrow. Good night.